Step off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Well, I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk. The good news is, that's kind of even old. Not a lot of people are talking about that anymore. Instead, I want to balance out all the bad news out there with some good news. So we don't talk about headlines. You can get that everywhere. And I'm 100% confident now that if you do tune into the headlines, it will be negative and it will be something that makes you a little more anxious and releasing negative toxic chemicals in your body. So we don't want that. This has been over 13 years now of positivity and claiming your birthright for happiness 88% of the time. So if you've missed any of the 1,409 podcast shows to that end, then you can get it on my free subscribe YouTube channel, where if you give us the finger, this one, not the other one, you'll get an alert every weekday morning. And not only do I have great guests, let's see, who is my memory's going. Florence LaRue from The Fifth Dimension, When the Moon is in the Seventh Star. So that's on there. And I also have very special series. And as you can tell from the good-looking guy that's in my studio today, it is time for Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn. Good morning, everyone.
Always good to have you back. He is Renaissance man too. I guess all of my co-hosts are Renaissance multi-hyphenates. He is a trainer and an actor, and I met him when he was the co-founder of a Flicks for Change film festival that makes a difference. I don't know if that was your tagline, but that's a pretty good tagline.
That's pretty good. It's not bad at all.
And it's funny because I just got a comment or something from your co-founder, Andrew Steele. I haven't heard from him for a while, and it was funny to get that piece in, piece out. If that's your eyeball in the eyeballs that are rolling in, we're so glad to have you join us this morning. And let's see, where was I? Oh, breakfast. For breakfast, I'm going to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich with my co-host here. We're going to have breakfast with you. We started this way for the last couple years. Top of the bun is, what is it?
It is things that you are grateful for in your life.
Outside of yourself. And on the bottom, because I like it on the bottom and it's Friday and I can be naughty. Bottom of the bun is things that you're grateful for inside of yourself. So that's the distinction. And so tonight, before you go to bed, that's when you do the bottom of the bun. But we're going to model it for you right now. So, James, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for, not doing a 6:30 a.m. Session with a client, but I'm grateful for that client. I love it when people give me they give all their attention and focus to the work, because they get twice as much benefit, rather than just going through the motions. And it makes my job as a trainer that much more rewarding when my people get results. And some people, God bless them, want to have everything silver spoon. And I can create the best roadmap in the world to get you where you want to go, but you got to drive the car. So I love it. I love my clients that drive the car, do the work between sessions, really focus on doing things with good technique, because I know that they're going to get to where they want to go. And that just makes everything so much better. So I am very grateful to her and people like her.
Awesome. Definitely not talking about me. I am grateful for uh going on world tour. It is definitely getting exciting. Little overwhelming. Moves are overwhelming. This is probably the least overwhelming move that I've ever had because I gave myself time to go through everything. So I went through photographs, photo albums that I'll have to send you some pictures. I'm going to put a video collage with all the guys, to all the men I've loved before. Because all these guys were all good looking, I have to say. But it's like, oh, wow, I forgot about him. And just knowing that I get to do lots of planes, trains, and automobiles until January, Africa, China, parts of the States, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and really, really grateful that I get to continue the tour that got cut off by COVID.
Yes, so nothing is ever lost forever. A little teaser for what we're going to talk about today. Sometimes things just get put on pause for a moment, and you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I am grateful that I have people in my life. I have, in the palm of my hand, I have my closest, and then I have, that group, and then I have a wider group of support. My mom passed 2 weeks ago yesterday, and it's just been such an amazing, like, I know that I have a place to fall back on when I need to. And for that, I'm really grateful.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's so important when you're going through loss, and especially someone that close to you, that helped make you who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm grateful for people that just have this incredible enthusiasm for life. I made a new friend. First time in America, from France, aspiring actor, and he's just so excited about everything to be here, and it's so fun to watch him. The sense of novelty, everything is just this fantastic new adventure, and he embraces it with arms wide open. And it's a nice reminder to me to not take anything for granted, not to get jaded over stuff, because even the same can be new if you choose the right perspective. If you are super present in the moment, then each moment is its own thing. And even if you've done it 1,000 times, it can be new when you're fully present. And so seeing him live in that way is a reminder that that amount of happiness is accessible really to all of us in any given moment if we really tune in and show up. So grateful to him for the example that he's been setting.
What's his name?
His name is Axel.
Axel, peace in, peace out. Thank you for making my co-host realize that about life. It reminded me of that movie. I think it was Big, but it could have been another one. But Daryl Hannah, do you remember this movie when Daryl Hannah?
Thinking about, well, if it's a Tom Hanks movie, you're thinking about Splash. When she's a mermaid.
Splash. And she comes and she sees a present for the first time, and she's thinking she doesn't know there's anything inside of the wrapping paper. I'll never forget that. It's one of the best examples of really loving everything in life. So when you said that, she came into mind. That was great. What a great story that was.
It was so well done. It sounds like a silly premise, but it really hit on a lot of important life lessons, like fundamentals of how to be happy and how to look at the world. And it's so funny. You can take such a silly premise, mermaid, washes ashore near the Statue of Liberty or whatever, and falls in love with an earthling man. But the lessons that came from that were really amazing. And then you had mentioned Big. In that movie, Tom Hanks is experiencing everything with the novelty of a child just in a grown-up's body. And
no wonder I got it mixed up.
Both of them. Yeah, both of them. It's just, in one movie, it's her, it's the other character that's experiencing that. And then in Big, it's him and the lessons he learns about getting to be a kid again. I think, silly premises with really valuable takeaways.
Absolutely. And I'm not ignoring you. I'm just putting the story up on Instagram that we're on live. So
Yes.
just in case you were wondering what the heck I was doing. This is actually good. It's a pan of us like in studio. I
Oh,
just
cool.
started doing this with, yeah. So great. Let's go to the bottom of the bun. That is weight training for your ability to self-care, self-love, self-soothe. Personal mastery is the trade name that I'm using as I go about and teach not just about happiness, but most importantly, the thing that underlies your ability to be happy is who's the boss of you, who's the boss of the voice in the head. So it is you, but you have to stop doing this MS scrolling and letting other people hijack your attention on what they want you to focus on. So that's why we do the bottom of the bun. How good are you at identifying what you're good at, what you like about yourself? Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone else to? So that's why we do this part. James, I have to say, he did not like this. Ricky did not like this. Dr. Tiffany did like this because she's a Leo like me. But just being able to overcome that don't toot your own horn, who do you think you are, conditioning that we may have grown up with is not easy. But it's a good thing to know what you're good at and what you're not good at so that when you get criticisms or compliments, it's just icing on the cake. You bake your own cake. So, what's in your cake, James?
I like that I am pretty good at being helpful when people, need a hand. I like that I can help out. And a lot of times, they turn into win-wins. Sometimes helping somebody else isn't just about a sacrifice that you make. It can be a gift that you give yourself and you help other people. And what I mean by that is I have a friend who's a producer for a great and fun musical. What the movie The Wedding Singer has been adapted to a musical, and it is so much fun. And they've been drawing really good crowds, but they were a little light on sales for Sunday night show. And my friend's like, invite who you can. I've got, X amount of free tickets. And so I'm like, absolutely, because the way that in turn also helps me is I'm reaching out to people that maybe I haven't talked to in a minute and inviting them to something fun. And it's a free ticket for them, gives me a chance to catch up with them. And even the people that can't make it on Sunday, we're like, well, what are you doing Saturday morning? Let's get together for coffee. And so, it turned into something that was actually really fruitful for just my social life and sense of community, to think about all these people that might enjoy the gift of a free, fun musical to go to, and allows me the opportunity to just keep them in my life in a very present way. So I like that I am good at being helpful, and that I can create win-wins out of, just about any circumstance or, environment.
Where is that going to be?
The show runs through this month. Hopefully it gets extended. It's at the Colony Theater in Burbank, and this is the big one, folks. Free parking, and there's direct access to the theater lobby from the garage. Couldn't be easier.
What
So
time
that
is
makes it really easy to go see a show there and enjoy it.
what time is the show?
Sunday at 7 and Saturday at 8 p.m. And then they also have matinees at 2 on Saturday and Sunday, and a Friday night show. So it's 5 shows a weekend through the month of June, and hopefully it gets extended and you will go and have a blast. It's so much fun.
I'm putting it in the comments that the Asian Oprah giveaway today is a free 2 tickets.
Yeah, I can do 2 tickets, and for
Okay.
either tomorrow night show at 8 p.m. or Sunday show at 7 p.m. And I will be there Sunday at 7. That'll be my second time seeing it. I went to opening night, which was a wonderful celebration, really well done event. And for those of you folks that are old enough to remember 1985, the year of my birth, this musical transports you back to that magical, mystical, materialistic time. It's actually, if you've seen the movie, it's quite similar to that in terms of plot, but it's so much more fun because there's singing and dancing and a lot of laughter.
So just contact James, Action Man Fitness. You can message him, and he'll let you know how to do that. All right.
Absolutely. Yes. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Action Man Fitness, all one word, no spaces. If you'd like 2 tickets to either Saturday or Sunday, I just need your name so that your tickets will be waiting for you at the will call window.
There you go. See, keep it here. I'm not giving away cars, but we get tickets.
Yeah. Hey, look, speaking of being helpful, right? Win-wins right there. We
That's
created
right.
a mutual win-win out of helping somebody else's need, because it's been getting good press, and he's trying to the producer is trying to fill the house to capacity every night, which I think is awesome, because for a fun show like that, it makes it, that much more fun.
Absolutely. Sounds great. All right. Bottom of the bun. You are helpful. I think that's the one you want to do.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is always looking for win-win, and I do know that about you. I appreciate my ability to not get overwhelmed. I know how to soothe myself, because moving is supposedly one of the top 3 stressors. I can
Yes.
understand how that can be, but I've given myself time, and I just do 15 minutes at a time, and things are getting done, and make the calls. And so now I've got it all organized. Anything that doesn't sell, I have the sales. The weekend is set. If you're local and you want to come, I'm making it into a farewell party or a kickoff party. It's next weekend, and just message me, and I'll give you some details and things that are for sale. But just come and have a party on the beach with me. There you go.
I'll be there. I will be there.
Yes,
Most likely
James will
on
be
that
there.
On that Sunday. I'll be coming around 9:30, 10 on
There you go.
Sunday. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a fitness a session.
Yes, we've been trying to get this on the calendar for years. I can't wait to do it.
Right?
It's gonna be fun.
One more. What do you like about yourself?
Well, since it's recent, this morning I was talking about how great that session was with that client. I like that I'm really good at taking complicated things and making them simple. And then I'm able to, help the client distill down what I'm teaching them into just a couple core concepts. And then that way they have access. They can be the master, like you said, be the master of your own ego. Don't let mindless scrolling, mess with your sense of self and self-approval. I like to have my clients achieve that mastery of the concepts, because if they get the core concepts, then nothing is outside of their grasp or reach. And by just making it simple, I think I'm pretty good at doing that for them. And that really helps them get to where they're going faster. I love it when they say to me, yeah, so I was showing my family member or my work friend, how to do this and that. And they're like, you could be a trainer. I'm like, that's awesome. I love that other people are saying my clients could be trainers.
Awesome.
So I like that I'm able to take complex things, make them simple, so that people can master them and run with them and be the master of their destiny.
Sounds great. My last one is that I appreciate my ability to do carefrontations. I'm a natural conflict avoidant. I'm really good at teaching it. Taught that course at UCLA in the Anderson School, which was managerial interpersonal effectiveness, and it was largely due to conflict management that people took the course. But in my own life, I have to admit, I'm more like my show title, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. And lately, I have been really trying to embrace carefrontation, which is if the person is worth having a difficult conversation with, to see if you can get to the other side. And if you can get to the other side of a carefrontation, it's usually strengthening for the relationship. but the impetus or that first little push into the conversation is definitely not easy. So I'm really appreciative of my ability to begin, not just saying, screw you and the horse that you came in on, or if I look like you, I'd be miserable too, and then moving on. So yeah, I appreciate that about myself.
For those people that really struggle with that, and I think that's most people, I think it's helpful to remember that scientists have determined that 90% of communication is nonverbal. So we spend so much time agonizing over the issue and how we're going to, or what we're going to say. But really, if you focus on how you come to that person in terms of your attitude towards them, your behavior, if it's truly from a place of love and you've managed your emotions correctly so that you're not coming at them when you're upset, if you're truly coming to them from a place of care and love, whatever comes out of your mouth, it doesn't have to be perfect or neat, or you can just get it out if you're coming to them and you preface it with, listen, I want to have this conversation with you because I really love you, and I really love all these things, and this is just something that's bothering me, and I want us to get through it together. Whatever comes out next is usually going to go pretty well. So by focusing more on the how and your behavior and attitude rather than the what, that is an easy way to tackle difficult issues with people, I would say.
And that's it for the bottom of the bun. What we appreciate about ourselves, which is taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich every weekday morning. Hopefully, you'll do this for 28 days with or without me, because that is what it takes according to the research, but they keep changing the number. But we want you to have this good life habit, this hashtag Blisscipline. I promise you, if you do adopt this, it's the cheapest way to make yourself feel better and sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. It says everything is awesome. James, what is our topic today?
Today, both of us have lost someone close to us in recent weeks, and the topic is dealing with loss and discussing whether when you lose somebody from the physical world in your life, are they truly lost? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, the grieving process, and how we remember and move forward.
And this is on Straight Talk with myself and
Dodger fan extraordinaire, James Hawthorn.
Yeah, he's my Dodger docent. Anyways, I want to just do a quick station ID. This is AM FM on KCAA NBC News Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. If you are tuning in right now and you're actually seeing us, that's because I'm live every weekday morning on my YouTube TV channel. Please hit free subscribe. Give us the finger, this one. Come chat if you're not driving. Please do not chat and drive at the same time. But we are live right now and welcoming you to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. So there we go. I forgot to do that after breakfast, and we made that up. So tell me why this is an important topic for you personally, because I didn't want to know until the show exactly what had happened to you this last couple of weeks, and the reason why we're talking about this topic for you. I know what we're doing for me.
Sure. Yeah. A really good friend of mine who I manage a rec softball team, a recreation league softball team. And he's the first player that I ever brought to the team long before I was manager of the team. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, on May 29th, he and his girlfriend were killed in a car accident. It was all over the news. There's a stretch of the 5 freeway. So a little public service announcement for those that are driving on the 5 down in Sylmar, where semi-trucks are allowed to park and stop on the shoulder. I guess maybe the shoulder's really wide there. I don't know why they allow it, but a lot of times they'll park and the drivers will sleep. And it was nighttime around 10 p.m. And unfortunately, he and his girlfriend went into the back of a parked semi, and it was a very violent collision. And they both passed away. And a lot of times loss, especially when someone is young and it's quote unquote before their time, feels so senseless. And the cruelty of it, what makes the grieving process difficult, is they were on the way to pick up the girlfriend's 9-year-old daughter. And my friend Nate was like a second father to her. So I feel so bad for this little girl that effectively lost two parents, expecting them to arrive momentarily and then having to hear that they weren't coming. And then Nate's poor mother, Nate's older brother, was a heroic veteran, 5 tours of duty, came back and was struggling with PTSD and re-entry into society. And he unfortunately took his own life about 3.5, 4 months ago. So this poor woman lost 2 sons in just under 4 months.
Oh.
And the last time I had really hung out with Nate, we spent about 12 hours together. And it seemed like he was really turning the corner with his grieving process over his brother. So excited for his future with his girlfriend, and was talking so much about this little girl and how special she was. And I'm grateful that we had that really nice day together. We went on a hike with our dogs, had a nice 3-hour lunch with our dogs by our side. And then we went to a comedy show that night, and it was just a really, really nice time. And then we played one more softball game together. And on one of the nights, it was a Thursday, he couldn't make that game. That was the night that he passed. He said he was going to still be out of town, and that was the night that he had the accident. So when you put all of that together, first of all, for those of you driving, watch out for parked vehicles on the freeway, because even if you're, going the speed limit, 55 or 65 miles an hour into a parked vehicle will probably get you killed. So if you can't see what's ahead, slow down. Please, 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 please avoid distracted driving. It's just not worth it. He was only 31 years old. And then secondly, when you think about the senselessness of it and kind of how cruel it feels or seems, make sure that you take time to make everyone that you care about know that they're loved, because you never know when the last time is going to be that you that you see them.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for that he's now not in his physical body. I'm grateful that you did get to spend that concerted time with him, and how special that is, and that's your work, is to focus on that versus the last minute of the impact, which is the hardest thing, because that's, a natural thing, and asking why and all of that. But I am, my heart goes out to you, and a deep breath of peace and comfort to his mom and all the people who, are really missing and grieving. And that is, that is painful. There's no other word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that, through the show, as we both share our stories of loss, I know that we're going to get to, some strategies for getting through it, and how to move forward in the best possible way, while being true to, your own pain and feelings you have around it.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that it was the same day that my mom passed, the 29th.
The 29th, yes.
Yeah. So I just went and checked, because you do, with grief, your memory, things are all a little bit discombobulated. Things you normally would be, habitual, you kind of get a little bit thrown. So if you are going through loss right now, even though I'm going to talk about that word in a second, if you're going through natural sadness, natural grief, natural that comes with mourning, my co-host on Wednesday, we talked about it as well, the difference between grief and mourning. So all of that is, don't try to stop it. The feelings are important for you to feel, as uncomfortable as it may feel, it is important for you to feel. And since we're in the second half of the show, we can start talking about solution. And I just wanted to start with that one because I'm sure that especially for men who are told, don't cry, don't feel, don't be a sissy. It's so important for you to allow yourself to cry. Never apologize for crying. Tears are the disinfectant that keep your heart soft. And this is a safe place. On my show is a safe place. So if you are going through this right now, this is the episode for you. If you know someone going through this right now, share the show with them because it's so important to stay in that feeling of uncomfortable sadness for as long as you need to. Because if you don't, it gets infected. And what you don't deal with will deal with you. So that's number one when I talk about grief and loss.
Yes, and this might sound paradoxical, but truly, vulnerability is strength. It takes strength to allow yourself to be vulnerable, and that vulnerability is sincerity. It's not weakness. It's strength. It's authenticity, and it's giving your heart. It's opening your heart enough so that you have the space for other people to be there for you and support you. Something about Nate himself is that he was the shoulder for everybody else. And he was always so positive and happy. And only when you were like one-on-one with him would he give you a glimpse into the burden he was carrying of other people's, sadness and grief. And he lost a lot of people in his life. And I found myself wondering, how is that possible? And then it hit me. He's able to recognize people that are in pain and that need a shoulder. And he was that shoulder. And when you allow yourself to be vulnerable as you're going through loss yourself, you're allowing people like Nate to come in and be there for you and support you and lift you up. Community, I think, in dealing with loss is so important. One solution that I found, and I hoped it would be a solution, and it was all the guys. I had to break it to the guys on the softball team that we had lost Nate, and we were all going to get together immediately after our first game without him. And I had gotten news about Nate's passing from a dear friend of his who I also knew, and he was just beside himself, hysterical. And I invited him and any of Nate's other friends that weren't on the softball team to come join us. I said we were going to come together, share some stories, some laughter, some tears, and have, pizza and beers and talk about Nate and celebrate him. Well, no less than about 25 of his coworkers, he worked at a seafood restaurant in Calabasas, came. So the softball guys show up after the game, and there's 25 of his friends there. My joke was, who the heck is running the restaurant? Everybody's here. Who's the restaurant's open now? Who's in the restaurant?
Yeah.
But it was really cathartic, and stories were shared about Nate from different parts of his life that the softball guys weren't privy to, maybe, and that his work people weren't privy to. And it was so healing and so important and for everybody. And it just was exactly what we needed. It hit the spot. And then in doing that, it finally felt easier to not have to carry the sadness with me in every moment. And now when I think about him, I think about the funny stuff, and I find myself impersonating him, some of the funny things he would say. And that was a big step in the healing process.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. To highlight what you had said earlier as a strategy or something helpful is sorrow shared is halved, joy shared is doubled. And it's so important. The temptation is to withdraw. The temptation is to go out, on your own and suffer alone. But when you're going through grief and loss, it's so, like you said, be vulnerable. There's no shame in saying, I just need a hug, or can I lean on you? And then if you're the person being leaned on, you don't need to say anything. That was a lesson I learned when my UPS man had me in the library the day of the worst massacre in Orange County, which was the salon, Seal Beach salon shooting. And I was pulled back into that library 3 times. I didn't want to, I didn't think I was supposed to be there. So I kept trying to leave, but I kept being brought back in. And I realized that I was there to learn about grief, to learn about what in that first day, in that first week, the most important thing for people going through that is not to talk about it. All the platitudes of God must have wanted them more than we did. That's like bullshit talky. I wish people could remove that from their vocabulary. There's not a time anywhere in the future where that is a helpful thing to say. And when I first volunteered my services to the people that were running the library, they said, that's okay, we have grief experts coming. And they all had like this sheet of what to say and all that. And what was interesting is the most helpful people were those who just, touched you on the back or touched you on the arm. And if the person was okay with the touch and could turn into you and hug you and cry, that was the most effective thing to have happen. And I got woken up at 4:30 to write about it. And I didn't want to write about it. We were told by the police not to write about the circumstances or the case. So I didn't write about that, but I did write about that experience being in the middle of so much grief, like 13 people shot, and the article got published the front page of the Orange County Register. And overnight I became this grief expert, which I don't know if you knew that, but it was such an incredible experience that I was supposed to experience, so that as I move through it, as other people move through it, I know what doesn't work is a lot of talking. What does work is a lot of leaning on, holding, hugging, and just keeping your mouth shut for the most part.
Yeah, helping people through,
yes.
through the grieving process. That's very true. And very
I need
helpful.
to take a quick break for station ID and time for news, weather, and traffic here. Don't go away. We'll be right back. This is Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn.
And we're talking about loss and love. I think that's a good balancing part for that. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. Peace in, peace out.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel, which houses all 1,400 and actually I need to change that. It's 1,409. It was from last week. But I'm so grateful to all of you for the support. I am now 684 consecutive weeks strong. I just was told I have 3.9 million impressions on the YouTube TV channel, which just tells me that happiness and positivity and life does not suck is a message that more than the people that they estimated would enjoy the show are enjoying. They said I wouldn't last a year. 13 years later, I'm still here. So thank you for joining us. And I have in studio today the good looking inside and out. Your insides are good looking too. More, my Dodger escort service. No, my Dodger teacher.
That was good.
My
Dodger docent.
My Dodger docent, James Hawthorn. Welcome back to the studio. And we're talking about loss and love. And it is the second half of the show. I'm going to share just really quickly about my own loss. Even though people have been saying, I'm sorry for your loss. My mother, those of you who know, this was it's interesting. If you are a person who has a love-hate relationship with your mother, and if it's not one thing, it's your mother, and your mother was not your best friend, like James's mother is, and your mother is not your biggest fan, like James's is. I had the other experience, and a lot of you know my 8 Ways to Happiness book is tells that story not to bash my mom, but to talk about how no matter what your upbringing is, if you had less than positive experiences, you can still be happy. And there's nothing wrong with you because there's 7 out of 10 of us who have that kind of experience. However, when it comes, I had forgiven her, I would say like 88%, James. The work that I've done was, but I still had that little bit of, do I have to go see her in Toronto? She has Parkinson's. She's been bedridden for 3 years. I really don't want to go, because she still will meet me and say, you've gained weight or something not very positive. And so it was work, to go and visit, but I did it because, I'm codependent and it's what I should do and to be a good daughter. And I've been working this last year on really be the personal mastery, starting with myself and asking myself, are all the feelings that I'm having with every relationship, is it the best feeling that I could have? And I went to see her a month ago in April, and I spent 2 weeks instead of in and out in a week or in and out in 10 days max. And when I went, James, I literally, something happened that has never happened with my mother, which is when I went to lean down and say hello, when I got there, she usually turns her cheek and lets me kiss her, on the cheek or on the forehead. She reached up and gave me a hug. Now, I know that this is hard to, if like your mom is so different, but my mother has never initiated a hug in my entire life. She will hug me back if I hug her. She'll say, I love you, maybe if I say I love you, right? But this was so shocking to me when I got there. It was like, who is this? And what have you done to my mother? And it was so shocking, which is even more shocking because that screenplay that I wrote 8 months ago, I started that screenplay called Life by a Thousand Cuts. I forgot that in the final scene, I had written that she had hugged me, which she's never done. And isn't that chilling?
Yeah, you may have manifested that.
I was like, oh my goodness. But going back to that hug, and 3 days later, I woke up in my brother's house and I was sobbing from the release of every bit of resentment and bitterness that I had left in my body, mind, and soul, that I now truly know that she did the very best that she could, not in a psychobabble way, but in a true that she really loved me in the best and only way she could. That all the things that we call abuse, that was just the best that she could do.
People have different toolboxes, and it's I don't mean to laugh at it, but you're like, what people would call abuse was actually her best. And I laugh because that sounds absurd, but it's not, because everybody has their own toolbox, different tools, different size box.
She did the best that she could
Yeah.
with the time that she had and the resources she had. And it's not an excuse, and it's not I'm forgiving you because I'm better than you. It's a true acceptance and understanding that every single person in life does the very best that they can do, and therefore you can forgive yourself for things that you regret because at the time you just didn't know better. And that freedom, I taped myself 11 minutes and 44 seconds of sheer release of all the dirt and the infection and the anger and the resentment. It was, oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. And then when I went back the next, I was there for 2 weeks, so that was 3 days, so 10 days of the most amazing. And she was already hospice level with the hydromorphine, making her comfortable. So we knew, it was, but I was able to, when she was lucid, have this relationship with her for the next 10 days that I've never had in my life. And then when I came back here every day, I called her because I wanted to call her. And I said, I love you. And she would say, I love you too, every single day, except for 2 when she was, back to herself. But that's okay, because even like the Thursday or the Friday, I said I love you, and she said I love you too. And then Saturday she stopped eating. Sunday I talked to the nurse, or anyways, one of those days I talked to the nurse. She says, if you're gonna come, I don't think it's gonna be 3 days. And I didn't have anything to finish. Like, we were so good. But with my bonus mom who passed 3 months ago, I got to hold her hand when she crossed the bridge, and that was so special. So I wanted to go back and do that with my mom. And I went to get a ticket, and there's no such thing as hospice tickets, by the way. The discount, it was like $1,200 to Toronto, and the non-refundable was like $850. Not that it's about the money, but I'm just saying, because it was kind of shocking. And I called to see if there was hospice, and they said no. And it was okay. I just about hit the button to pay for that $850, and the voice said, wait till the morning. And the next morning, she passed. That was the 29th. And if I had been on the plane, I would have missed it anyway. So I was so complete and so grateful. And so when people say to me, I'm sorry for your loss, I know what they're saying. I know that they're being supportive, but honestly, she's not lost. Nobody that dies is lost. They're not in their body. Yeah. So we lose them in their body, but her love, she's loving me just the way my dad's loving me, just the way that Michael, my grad school best friend, is loving me on the other side. They're in my heart. Anyone who has passed, your friend is in your heart, and he's loving you from the other side. And a year knows what a day doesn't. As painful as loss and death is, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. It does suck, right? There's no amount of understanding it. And that's why I say, you know, God, that expression, God wanted it more than like, that's like stupid. But life, we all go there. We're all going back into love. We all come from love. That's my BS, my belief system. And so how do we feel the loss without getting buried in it? And that's
Right.
what we wanted to talk about today. And I'll tell you, we've already hit some of the strategies around being vulnerable, letting people help, letting, you know, falling. I know I can fall back into so many people. The tool that I and then I'll shut up. The tool that I have in the book is called Remember Them Whole. Don't remember them in the last minute of that, the car hitting the semi, right? Because he was so much more than that. And the tendency is to focus on that. The tendency is to focus on, you know, them in the hospital bed or whatever that last not great memory is. Pull yourself up by your neck to 88,000 foot and remember all the things that you were learning from them in your relationship with them. That was a beautiful thing to initiate. Is just not a formal, you know, service necessary. I mean, I'm organizing that now. I just wrote the eulogy, you know, putting the slideshow together, and it's a beautiful thing. But remembering people with the stories, I think, is one of the most amazing
Yes, the
things.
stories. The stories are everything. That was the best thing about the get together after that Thursday game with his coworkers and with people from different parts of his life. And you know, when I first met Nate, it was during COVID. We were friends for about 4 years, and my dog was finally old enough. He had his parvo shots to put his feet on the ground, and he was still just a little thing. And but you know, I wanted to get out of the house, so we went to a restaurant that was showing the Dodgers game, but everybody was outside because it was during COVID. There must have been 50, 60 people there, TV's outside. And it was one of my first times bringing Tux out to a bar or restaurant. Tux is my dog, by the way. And he was pulling me over towards Nate, and I had never met him. And he had a puppy with him too. And I thought Tux wanted to meet this dog. Well, we get over there. Tux completely ignores the dog and sits on Nate's feet.
Aww.
So out of 60 people, my dog, being just the little puppy he was, he knew a good egg when he saw one. And
he chose a friend for you.
Exactly. And then we got talking. And the next thing you know, he's playing on my softball team. And they that same dog was at the get together. They brought the dog to that. And I was so delighted to see that dog, because that dog and Tux are the same age. And that dog can be a little wary around guys. That dog came up to me and was like, "Oh, I love you." It was so, because we had gone on that hike together just a few weeks prior. And the dog's like, "I remember you." And it was just all lovey. And that was kind of like a full circle sort of moment. But the stories, yes, the stories help. And something that truly helped me get beyond the grief. And this is a two-parter. One is sometimes I think we feel guilty if we don't wallow in the grief. It's like we feel like we're supposed to be sad and carry it with us. So there's a difference between allowing yourself that vulnerability and that space to grieve and cry, but then you don't want to have this sense of obligation that you have to carry the sadness with you. And one thing that truly helped me was two things. One, Nate would have been like, "Okay, buddy, enough. All right, bub, come on, move on. Go do the things that make you happy." He always loved to go on these big, long hikes. That's what he would do to clear his mind and be happy. And I know he's up there going, "James, go do the things that make you happy now. Forget about me. I'm cool. I'm cool, man. Like, don't worry about it." Like, and I think, what would he want for me? And that helps me just say, you know what? Darn it, I'm going to get out there and live my best day, because that is what he would want, and that's what he did. So thinking about that helps you move beyond the worst of the grief, I really believe. And then the second part is,
let me just put a check mark asterisk on that.
Yes.
Because my clients that come to me for happiness coaching, a lot of them are stuck in that loss, that grief, 10 years, 15 years, the loss of their loved one, whether it was someone they were married to or someone, their mom or dad. And that is the key right there. Is this really what they would want you to do in memory of them? So that is a powerful question. And that
Yes.
is the question to keep right here. And I couch it in, what did you learn from them that is their legacy for you to continue to live by? And you just answered that with live every day, right? To its fullest. That's his legacy. He did that, right?
Yes.
And he was a shoulder for everyone to lean on. And he's
Yes.
that, and that's his legacy. So if you're listening and you're remembering someone and you can't get past the last minute, I want you to pull yourself back and just ask, what are the 2 things that loved one gave you a lesson for to live on in their legacy?
Yes, that is such a productive and positive way to move through the grief and keep them with you, because in that way that person is never lost when you embody that legacy. That and when we get to the end of the show, I'm going to
That is the end of the show. We are at
we're
the end of
close.
the
Three
show.
minutes.
Yeah.
I'd love to send everybody off in the way that Nate would, and it's very similar to the way we do it. But my final thought on all of this is what you described about the relationship with your mom, and then the kindness, that love that you felt in the final month is exactly like the relationship my mom had with her mom. Her mom was not warm and fuzzy. In her early 90s, we were sitting at brunch, and out of the blue, she goes, "I wouldn't wish this on anyone." And we're like, "What, Grandma?" And she goes, "Life." So not a warm and fuzzy person, right? But she used to tell my mom that she was an accident and never meant to have her. And then in the final couple years, a little dementia really softened her up, because she'd be like, "My wonderful daughter, Barbara, she's so pretty. She's so this, she's so that." Never in my mom's life for decades did she ever pay her a compliment or want to hug her or speak nicely about her. And that changed. And my mom soaked all of that in because it helped her heal. And she, like you, wept about in the beauty of that. So my lesson to everybody is, if people that maybe aren't the warmest and fuzziest can soften up in their final days and years, the lesson for us is be kind every minute of every day. Don't wait till it's too late and you're on your way out to give the people the love that they deserve. Be kind, be generous, and do it every day. That's my final. That's a lesson we can take from those that are on their way out.
Absolutely. And mine final word is, even if you don't get that from your person who's not warm and fuzzy, I will say that I set that up, that I did the changing first. I attracted that from her because I chose to let that go. And I say that not to say that if you didn't have that resolve before your person died, you can still do that now.
Yeah.
You can do that now. You do not need to have anybody alive to do that loving acceptance work, because I'm proof. It will, it's the most incredible feeling in the world. And we're out of time.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. Powerful, powerful show as usual. Thank you, James. It's all about balance, peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Take us out.
As Nate would say when he came to the ball field on Thursday for the game, he'd go, "Let's have a Thursday. It's a great day for a Thursday." So in his spirit, I'm going to go out and tell you, let's have a weekend. Have the best weekend ever.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.